Bim, guess what? It's just gone 9 o'clock and it's Sunday. And that could only mean one thing. It's time for News Roundup of the Week. Today, the 17th of the 3rd, 2024. Basically, live talk to look at the news. Loads of things to cover, including an event that went on in the shop today, which I've kind of recreated. Not really. It was that funny, it nearly made me faint. Not laughed that so much. I've not laughed that much in years. We've also got major issues around the world, which just seem to be getting more and more serious and more worrying. And we're like, is it a case now that we're at the situation where, people above even our own governments are pulling the strings? Because it just seems to be the whole world is going into chaos. We'll cover that. We'll talk about Putin. Will he be lucky enough to win another election in Russia? I mean, odds aren't looking great, but you never know. And we've got various other news items to look at, as well as the bits that make you go, that's coming up later. But first, we've got the main news of the week. Pick two items from the week's news, and we look at those. And the one at the moment, which is, for me, possibly the biggest story, due to the fact that, hiya Alan, due to the fact that it's escalating in a really bad way, really quickly. And that is, hang on, where have I gone? There we go. There we go. And that is Haiti. Haiti is a troubled country. It's not one of the most popular. I'm at home at the moment, so we'll have to leave this shortly to go home. Don't worry, Alan. You know the way out, don't you? Don't forget to pull the door behind you. I'm joking, it's not in my house. So yeah, Haiti crisis looks like it's going and turn into civil war. Basically, there are lots of lawless gangs, and I mean many lawless gangs, that have now come together in order to bring down the governments and ask for elections and things like that. The problem is they're just murdering people left, right and centre. There's no real law anymore there. And on Monday, things were getting really severe. Andy the cyclist, good evening, hope you're well. The president of Haiti, or the prime minister of Haiti, resigns as his country falls further into anarchy, and that was on Tuesday. It's starting to become a crisis for the civilians who were not involved with these gangs. Many people having their homes and businesses destroyed. Some people being killed by these people. And the latest news today, that the police have said many gang members have been killed as they've tried to break up some roadblocks in and around Haiti. But the whole situation, you've got to feel for the actual, again, it's always the kids and the civilians who lose out on this kind of thing. And what do these gangs want? These gangs don't want the world to be a nice, peaceful place. They want a place where they can do what they do, which is probably sell drugs, sell people, and just make lots and lots of money. I mean, Haiti's not been in a good place for a long while. I think one of the Black Eyed Peas actually wanted to stand as president there at one point. I could be wrong on that one. It might not have been Haiti, but it was certainly a country in that kind of area. Oh, hello, Lainey. Welcome as well. If you want to shout out, don't forget you can join in the chat room. If you're watching this or listening to this as a podcast, feel free to comment in the old comment box at the bottom. So that was the news, main news number one. The main news number two is the continuing slaughter of innocent people by Benjamin Netanyahu in Gaza. This is a picture of an aid area that was hit by a strike. It's a recognised aid area where the aid is given out to people, and he just bombed it. IDF accused of abuse on Tuesday, including beatings and not allowing staff to work at hospital in Gaza. And I asked the question there, are you surprised? Lord Cameron says it's very disturbing and needs what from Israel? I don't know, from Israel. US says they're not sure what's going on, but they have raised the issue with Israel, which is completely, talk about weeing in the wind. Wednesday, the 13th of March, in Gaza, UN agent killed, many injured at aid centre after an IDF strike. IDF shoot dead 6 in Jerusalem, including a 12-year-old playing with a firework. Israel National Secretary Office says soldier who killed him is a hero and a warrior, and describes the child as a 12-year-old terrorist. This is what we're dealing with. I mean, yeah, what happened with Hamas was horrific, although bear in mind the concert venue, or the festival venue, was moved very shortly before the festival happened, closer to the border, and it should have finished the day before the attack, but it was extended, surprisingly, to finish on the day of the attack. Thursday, the majority leader in the Senate says Netanyahu has lost his way, and this guy, the majority leader, is a Jewish person, and he's pushing Israel, or he says Israel is pushing towards a new law. They're already there as far as I'm concerned. Friday, Gaza reports that Netanyahu has approved the attack on Rafah. Now, as far as I'm aware, that hasn't happened yet, but Rafah is where basically they've sent everyone, all the civilians and everyone, for safety, and now they're looking at blitzing the place. And I've said before, and I stand by this, that I fail to see what the difference is between putting people on trains and sending people or making people travel to areas where they're being attacked by the use of leaflets being dropped from aeroplanes. The whole situation is beyond abhorrent. And what Hamas did was beyond abhorrent, but what Israel is doing is absolutely disgraceful. And why the hell any government is supporting them in the world for this is beyond me. What has Israel got on everyone else? They've obviously got something on everyone else, and I don't know what it is. But why are people not standing up to Israel and saying, look, stop what you're doing? Mind you, some countries are supplying Israel with the weapons, so, maybe that's the reason. Anyway, that was the two headlines of the week. Whoops, wrong one. And that brings us to the world news. This is the roundup of the week as reported in the UK on World News. And we'll go through day by day because that's how it works. The week, that is, obviously, day by day. So, the 11th, Monday the 11th of March 2024, the Princess of Wales, Catherine, apologises for editing the Mother's Day photo. Now, I said last week, before all this really kicked off, and I wasn't aware that it was about to kick off, when I did this show last Sunday, that the picture looked like it had been modified with, Google Pixel advertising, where there's all them footballers or them mates in the basketball court or whatever, and they just choose the best face, and it kind of, it makes everyone go, look, so they're all looking at the camera at the same time. And this picture's, to me, had that look about it. But anyway, it turns out I was wrong, but we'll go into more detail later on. But Kate has apologised. It does seem, though, now that the world is obsessed with Kate and where she is, because she's not been seen since Christmas Day. She did have some surgery, which on her abdomen, which meant she was in hospital for a good while. But it now appears that people think that the situation's a lot worse than what the palace is saying, and this picture's kind of made it look even more so. But again, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Lee Anderson, MP, former Tory, has now defected to the Reform, making them have an MP in the House of Parliament for the first time. He's been Labour in the past, and then he'd become a Conservative, and somehow, for a former Labour member and MP, he became a deputy leader of the Conservative Party, but now he's with Reform, so he'll probably be Prime Minister by this time next year. Police trying to identify 30 plus bodies from a Legacy Funeral Home. 2 people are under arrest. Legacy Funeral Home is around Hull area. They've got 3 branches, and 30, I think it was 34, 35 bodies have been found, which should have been disposed of in the proper way, either burial or cremation. We've heard about this kind of stuff going on in America. I've reported it a few times. But yeah, it's just down the other side of the M62 from us, which is very worrying indeed. Finland and Sweden joined NATO exercises for the first time, leaving their neutrality behind. After the Second World War, they became neutral, but with the threats from Russia, particularly Putin, they've decided to join and have been accepted as members of NATO. So they joined some of NATO's exercises, and it was the first time. St John's Market in Liverpool shut as over £1 million are owed in rent since the year 2020, and the council have just shut it down. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure, now don't quote me on this, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of crap going on in 2020, and it probably started in what was it now, that stopped people going out and spending money and stopped people going to work. And then it took a long while to everyone to get back into the routine of going out again. So a lot of businesses suffered, and the council in Liverpool have just basically shut the market. Oh yeah, that was it. COVID. I mean, come on, of course there's going to be debts. And £1 million in the scheme of things, I don't think is a lot of money, considering the size of the market and everything. They've let the traders, I didn't warn the traders, they just shut the place down. But they've let the traders come in and collect their goods, but told them, yep, that's it, we're done. The Bluebird boat is back at Coniston. This was the boat that was doing the water speed record, which tragically crashed on Coniston in the 1950s or the early 1960s? I can never remember. There's been a lot of fighting since it was rediscovered again about 20 years ago, and has been repaired and restored, about who owns it. And anyway, it's finally now back at Coniston, which is where it should be, and there's a museum there for it as well. So if you go up to Coniston, play Bluebird a visit. Tuesday, the 12th even of March, the Cabinet says Frank Hester, donor to the Conservatives, was rude and racist in 2019, saying he wants to hate all black women because he saw Diana Abbott, adding she should be shot. Now, I'm all for free speech and everything. I mean, I say a lot of stuff myself. Liverpool must be run by Wingers. Yes, very good. Yeah, I'm... Diana Abbott is definitely a Marmite politician. I think you either love her or hate her. And some politicians, yeah, I dislike immensely, but I would never go down the route of saying that a person, you've seen a person, you may have spoken to a person, or you've seen a person on the TV, and that makes you whole dislike, in this case, all black women, and then adding that she should be shot. I mean, where's this guy coming from? Because you're a multimillionaire, does that mean you can get away with it? Well, apparently, if you give loads of money to the Conservative Party, yes, you can. He'd already given, I can't remember whether it was 10 or 20 million to the Conservative Party, and since the statement was made, not since it came to light, he's given another 5 million as well, and the Tories are refusing to hand it back. The whole thing is just typical Tory stuff. However, Labour are making a lot of play about this, about racism, supporting the Tories and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, whoa, 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 pot, kettle and black. What about the anti-Semitism, particularly with the Corbyn years, which was, you know, around about the same time, and has appeared and reared its ugly head since. And yeah, okay, Keir Starmer has finally started acting on it and kicking people out of the party for stuff like that, but it's took him a fucking long time to get there. But anyway, we will see how it progresses. Breath not being held. Meanwhile, everyone's favourite YouTuber, no, not me, surprisingly, I know, who knew, someone called Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan are to be extradited to the UK under alleged rape and sex trafficking accusations. The UK government is in talks to get them back over here. However, they are facing similar charges, unrelated to the ones that are in the UK, in, is it Romania where they are? And they will not be extradited until after their trial, and if they are imprisoned, they will not be extradited until they are free. which is like, that sounds good to me, because that means if they are guilty, they will serve a term in prison in the foreign lands, and then they'll come over here and then end up hopefully going to prison again if they're guilty, rather than it all running at the same time. Labour are just as bad. Yeah, everyone's just as bad with the accusations about racism and all that kind of stuff. It's just daft. Now, this is something I've been talking about for quite a long while. And I particularly said, and I had a discussion with someone about this at length. They were in the chat room. I was obviously talking. And it was kind of not a throwaway comment as such, but it was one of them things where it wasn't a big thing, but I was just going to talk about it. And it was puberty blockers. And there was a court in a state in America that had banned a clinic from using puberty blockers. Now, puberty blockers, if you don't know, it basically does what it says on the bottle. It stops genital development of children, and it's given to children who have been told, because they don't know, did they, the kids, that they are in the wrong bodies. So boys should be girls and girls should be boys. And so rather than let them develop sexually into what they were born as, they're given puberty blockers, which to me is child abuse on the highest level whatsoever. Obviously, kiddie fiddlers and all that kind of stuff are the scum of the earth. But I would put people who recommend kids have puberty blockers even higher up than that, because that physically changes them internally forever. And the person said, "Oh well, you can get reversal. You can't get reversal things once you've got past a certain age. No matter what you give someone, they're not going to suddenly go through puberty at the age of like 33. So the whole thing is an anathema." Anyway, England, NHS England says that prescribed puberty blockers will not be given to children only for clinical trials, which is still, what the hell's a clinical trial? People already given or being given them will continue to get them, because it's probably dangerous to take them off it suddenly, so they will continue to get them. But I've written on here that it's just the same as child sex abuse, but it's actually internal child sex abuse. Also, it's up with the mind as well. And on a lighter note, God knows we need a lighter note after that one. I told you it was all serious. There's some funny stuff coming on later on, don't worry. Lighter note, Britain is going to build some gas power stations to replace the ones we've blown up, because we weren't going to use them anymore. Which seems a short-term measure for me. Yes, we need to get off fossil fuels for two reasons. One is the alleged global warming. The second one is the fact that they will run out. So we need to get something else. And the only thing we can get that will work is nuclear. Everything else is absolute codswallop. Nuclear power stations are the future, but you can't build one of them overnight. They take a few years to build, whereas you can build gas power stations a lot quicker. So we can build some gas power stations, use the gas that we've got in the North Sea and everywhere, so the lights don't go out. And then as and when the nuclear power stations come online, we can decommission the gas ones or just have them as spares. The advantage with nuclear is it's a lot safer now than it used to be. Technology's come on a long way. You look at Chernobyl, yeah, that was built in the 1960s, 1970s, no wonder it blew up. If you look at Fukushima, that was hit by a tidal wave after a tsunami. And although it did blow up, only one of the reactors blew up. It's getting safer. Plus, when do we need in the UK most electricity? In the winter time, when it's dark, it's for heating and cooking and charging the electric cars, which is another bullshit thing that the government's come up with. But yeah, gas power stations, a good temporary fix and definitely a way forward. So well done the government. Not often I say that, I'll be honest. Not at all. Wednesday the 13th of March, Diane Abbott attacks both Labour and the Conservatives over handling of Frank Esther. Rishi will not give the 10 million, I've written it here, 10 million in donations, but did say it was outrageous and sexist. And, it was Diane Abbott who said it's outrageous and sexist, and she also added Labour leadership to this day is disappointing. She's not wrong there, is she? I've never been more disappointed with a Labour leader since Corbyn. The good news was January GDP was up by 0.2%, which means we may be going out of a recession, which is only a tiny recession. It's a recession that's not a recession. Now we've up by 0.2. I mean, these things are minimal, but you know, if it works, it does. And the great news world, the American presidential election has been confirmed on Wednesday the 13th. Yeah, looking for some to be Trump versus Biden. Yay! Hooray! Thursday the 14th. A tragedy crossing the Mediterranean Sea in a flimsy boat. 60 migrants drown, and at least 60, 25 are rescued. Now, they're coming up with this new terminology, the government, for extremists and hate speech and all that kind of stuff. But there is a worry that they're going too far, and it's risk of freedom of speech, and give a label to groups as extremists, which may stop their subsidies, even though they're not extremist as such. They just might have extremist opinions, but they do good for people. So the whole thing seems, they're trying to do something, but I don't know what they're trying to. They don't know what they're trying. It's Conservatives. They haven't got a clue. Mind you, they're still going to be better than Labour. The good news for the people of Russia is they can finally get rid of Putin, because on Thursday the polls open for the election for the Russian president, and it goes on for 3 days. And the big question is, who will win the Russian presidential election? We have to wait to find out. I'm not going to spoil it for you, because I'll be honest with you, don't know. SpaceX tests a rocket. It's the third time lucky, as this one gets into space. The previous two haven't. They've had a rapid disassembly procedure or something. Basically, it blew up. But this one actually got into space. But it didn't make it back down to ground, unfortunately. But it is the best yet, and they're very happy. Yeah. Easily pleased, the SpaceX people. Friday the 15th of March. The polls are open in Russia, while in Ukraine at least 20 are dead in Odessa in airstrikes in residential area, and Ukraine attacks some towns on the border of Russia and Ukraine. Part of the M25 is closed for a bridge being demolished and a new gantry being built. And bodies from the funeral home have been identified and the families notified. The problem is now, the worry is, that some people, not only have they buried the wrong people or cremated the wrong people or got the wrong ashes when they cremated the right people, or maybe they haven't cremated anyone at all and still got ashes, that this could have been going on for a long while. So there could be people whose loved ones have been cremated or buried, and they've not got the ashes for the right person, or the person in the coffin in the plot may not be the right person. It's just horrific what has gone on in the whole area with this funeral parlour. Which brings us to Saturday. In Wales, there's a result of the Labour leadership, and it means Vaughan Gethings becomes the First Minister next week. Now, Vaughan Gethings is now the leader of the Labour Party, which is the controlling party in Wales, and he's the first black leader of a party. He's the first black or non-white person to lead a devolved government. Basically, he's smashed a few records. It's impressive. Also means that there's not any leader of any part of the UK that is a white person. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? You decide. Day after McDonald's card disaster, basically McDonald's went into free fall on Friday. There's a glitch in Sainsbury's. We've also had major issues with card payments. They've had to cancel lots of deliveries and stuff like that. So if you ordered off Sainsbury's yesterday, good luck. You wouldn't have got anything. So you wouldn't have had any tea that night. So always have emergency stocks in the freezer, just in case. And this brings us to today. Today, it's a brave new world. Voting closes in the Russian elections. Who will be declared the winner? I'm on tenterhooks. I just always think it was tenterhooks, but it's tenterhooks. I don't even know what tenterhooks are. But anyway, I'm on that. I wonder who's going to win the election in Russia. In Iceland, one of the volcanoes erupts, and it's the biggest eruption ever. And scientists now predict that the eruptions could go on for many, many centuries, which is quite surprising. And sad news, Steve Harley of Cockney Rebel, Come Up and See Me Sometime, he had a hit in the 1970s, has passed away at the age of 73. Steve Harley, yeah, I think that was their only, well, that was certainly the biggest hit. Come up and see me, make me smile, do what you want, running wild. Yeah, that's why he's a singer and I'm not. Putin is giving a victory speech. Wow, he's jumping the gun a bit, isn't he? I don't think they counted all the votes yet. Anyway, we're now on world news. Here is the news. Wow, 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 wow. So what's gone on in the world as reported by various different agencies that are not UK based? And the answer is my computer's broke. Just bear with me a moment. There we go. What's happened there? What has happened there? Oh, okay, it's all gone a bit weird. But we're back. We're back. So we start off with that photo. Manipulations. This is why the English language is so confusing for foreigners like the Aussies. Manipulation concerns over the photograph. Basically, I mean, who does this? Who gets a photograph of the royal family, particularly with children, and then zooms in to look at all these little parts of the photograph? I mean, if you just look at it on the screen, you can't see these things. It's very peculiar. It is very, 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 very weird. But anyway, I'll carry on, shall I? Because we need to get through this. I don't know what's going on. It appears the source has manipulated the image. Major international photo agencies have recalled a picture of the Princess of Wales, which was released by Kensington Palace just hours ago due to concerns over the image's authenticity. It's called kill notification. Doesn't mean that they're going to kill Prince William, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, or even Kate. No, they're not going to kill them. It's just that this image cannot be used anymore. So there it is. So you can look at it and think, yeah, I can see why. But yeah, I reckon she's done that, you know, get the right thing round, because it's the hair, isn't it? I never noticed anything in that pic till it was announced. Still didn't see much. Exactly. That's the whole thing, isn't it? It's a family picture. I mean, you know, we've all got, okay, they're ours, but they're still family. It's still not my family, but a family. And, you know, we've all seen pictures of, like, you know, particularly, well, I'm going to say girls, but boys as well do it, you know, to make the muscles look bigger when they go, you know, the shirt's going like that, and they're about 12, and they've got these big muscles. But in the background, you can see the door frames all warped or something like that. And the same with girls when they're trying to look slim, and, you know, the chair leg or whatever is just, you know, completely weird. I don't think this is anywhere up that with this. I think it's just a case of it's best face, maybe. She's got a Google Pixel camera or something similar, and that's what she's done, which is what I said last week. Anyway, on a lighter note, not that that was a severe note, but anyway, a small stingray has been spotted swimming along a busy road in Cairns in Australia following minor flooding and heavy rainfall in the area. Yes, it's a video. That is an actual stingray swimming down the high street. Well, it's not high street, but a road in Cairns. Wondering what the hell's going on? Why are the shops shut? Because they're all flooded. Aircraft manufacturer Boeing is investigating after a flight from Sydney to Auckland descended into chaos, seemingly dropping out of the sky, injuring dozens of passengers. Yeah, what plane was it? Oh, it was a Boeing. What could possibly go wrong there? Did you know there's a guy in Australia planning on making a replica Titan 1C? Yep. Palmer's Titan 1C announcement. Clive Palmer has unveiled a new design for the Titanic II over a decade since he first announced plans to build a replica of the world's most infamous cruise ship. The Aussie billionaire says designs were being finalised and it will look similar to its 20th century predecessor, but with the vastly improved safety features. Yeah, like, what they call them bits that go through the ship. Not holes. Oh, what's it called? But anyway, those that don't breach. Okay, Alan, safe journey home. Don't forget you can join in the chat if you want to. Man in iron lungs dies. A Texas man who spent over 7 decades in an iron lung and built a large following on social media has died, aged 78. At the age 6, Paul Alexander was paralysed from the neck down after contracting polio and went on to graduate from law school and write a memoir. I must admit, I mean, you got to feel sorry for the guy. 70 odd years, 72 years in an iron lung. If you don't know what an iron lung is, polio is a debilitating illness that was quite common years ago. If you're of a certain age, you'll remember a singer called Ian Dury. Hit me with your rhythm stick. Hit me, je t'adore, ich nehme dich. Hit me, hit me, hit me. Well, he had polio as well. One of his arms was pretty much wasted away and he couldn't use it. And his leg on the same side was pretty much a bit like having a stroke, but you can actually see the physical things of it. This gentleman, when he was a child, it basically stopped his lungs working and his heart and everything. So what they've done is they've put him in one of these things and it kind of sucks the air out and pushes it in again, which makes his chest expand and this expand, and therefore he can breathe. Horrendous. And he was there for 70 odd years. Yeah. The Russian control management of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, the largest in Europe, said the Ukrainian army had shelled a critical infrastructure facility at the plant. Yeah, what they probably mean is, we've done it and we're blaming them, because I don't think even Ukraine's daft enough to bomb a nuclear power station. And as I've said before, if they do, anyone bombs a nuclear power station within a mile of a nuclear power station, or has troops within a mile of a nuclear power station, that is a war crime. Australia will not ban TikTok. Government Services Minister Bill Shorten has today said Australia will not follow the same path after the US, after a major vote brought a nationwide ban a step closer. However, the app has been prohibited from installation on Australian government devices with access to sensitive information, which makes sense. If you've got a government phone, you should not have any apps on there at all, other than ones that are government secured, and should have 2 phones. You know, that's what drug dealers do, so I've heard. Would you eat a python? Well, not if it was alive. Probably not if it was dead, because I can't imagine there's a lot of meat on a python. It'd be worse than a bloody kipper, the amount of bones in it. But anyway, snake steaks could be the sustainable meat of the future, a new study has proposed. They believe pythons could conceivably be farmed on an industrial scale with a lower environmental impact than conventional meat production. I mean, how many pythons would you need to make the same number of burgers as a cow? And then, how do you get the meat off it? I mean, with a cow, you can cut massive big lumps of meat off. Snake, you'd be having to take the skin off. I mean, I suppose, you know, snake shoes and snake belts will become very popular. And snake hats and stuff, but no, it's just nonsense. McDonald's in outage. IT outage. This is what I was talking about before. There are reports McDonald's stores have been forced to close due to widespread outage. It was apparently practically worldwide, although I didn't go to McDonald's, so I don't know. Another snake story, not as happy ending. Snake catcher fighting for his life. A prominent snake catcher is fighting for his life in hospital after being bitten by a tiger snake in Melbourne. Mark Pelly, commonly known as the Snake Hunter, was bitten on his hand after his equipment broke while catching the snake. He was rushed to hospital and remains on an intensive care ward. Now, hopefully, he's going to be okay. I mean, it is a dangerous thing to do, but better someone who knows what they're doing catching snakes rather than members of the public trying to do it. But yeah, hopefully he'll be right. They've got lots, because there's that many poisonous snakes in Australia. They've got a lot of anti-venom and stuff like that, so hopefully he should make a full recovery. Now look at this. This is an official McDonald's in Australia. They even have over the sign Macca's over the door. Good news if you're craving a Big Mac. All McDonald's restaurants across Australia have reopened following a major global outage. And McDonald's have said, we're happy to confirm all our Australian restaurants are back online and serving our customers. Notably, the issue was not related to a cybersecurity event. So basically, they weren't hacked. What they basically did was, it turned out, they did an update on their systems for card payments, and it completely fucked up globally. I mean, that's what you call a global cup. Upstate New York mum posted she was drunk as hours before missing baby found alone, dying in a utility tunnel. An upstate New York mother posted she was drunk as on social media hours before a missing baby daughter was found dying in a cold, wet utility tunnel at an electric plant. Percy Nelson, 24, is now facing murder charges in the tragic death of 11-month-old Halo Branton, who died after she was found by a search team in a utility tunnel at Shenandoah's General Electricity Works. Yeah, you can't do stuff like that. It's just, again, America. Sort your families out. Boeing added weekly compliance checks audits at 737 factories amid quality problems, says a memo. I mean, Boeing are just in the case of... They're going the same way as that bloody door, aren't they? They are just in self-destruct mode. Boeing is adding weekly compliance checks for every 737 work area and additional audits of equipment to reduce quality problems. The company said in a memo to employees, the memo was from Boeing Commercial Airplanes President and CEO Stan Deal following the Federal Aviation Administration's 6-week audit of Boeing 737's MAX manufacturing. So it's like, oh, there might be a problem. Really? Who knew? Alleged racist Alexis Harnett arrested for naked jumping jacks in front yard, say the cops. A South Carolina woman accused of launching a racist tirade against her black neighbours last year was arrested again this month after allegedly doing jumping jacks while naked in her front yard. Alexis Harnett, 27, was arrested and charged with a count of obscene exposure after a neighbour saw her doing what appeared to be jumping jacks while topless in the front yard of her Conway home. Now, as far as I'm aware, it's not illegal to be naked. It's not right necessarily if you're going down High Street, but it's not illegal as long as you're not doing anything, with yourself. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. But apparently in America, I mean, she's lucky she didn't get shot, I'll be honest with you. A missing 12-year-old boy found locked up alone overnight in a Target. A missing 12-year-old boy was found locked inside an Ohio Target where he had somehow been left to roam alone overnight. The unidentified boy was reported missing, then found inside the Eastside Target by the staffer who opened up just after 6 a.m. Our team immediately contacted law enforcement on finding the child and cared for him until his family arrived. I mean, if you're going to get locked in somewhere, there are worse places than a massive supermarket that sells food and drink. I bet he was smashed out of his skull and eaten that much chocolate he'd probably vommed everywhere as well. But yeah, thankfully, happy ending, because it's not normally in America when children are involved getting lost. Boeing whistleblower found dead in hotel parking lot just days after testifying against the airplane giant. Are Boeing owned by Putin? A Boeing whistleblower was found dead in his truck in the parking lot of a South Carolina hotel after he failed to show up for the second part of his testimony for a bombshell lawsuit against the company. John Barnett, 62, had raised safety concerns at the airline's factories and provided his first testimony just days before he was found dead. Nothing to see here, nothing suspicious whatsoever. Talking of planes, restored BA Concorde begins its return back to the Intrepid Museum along the Hudson River. Basically, they tried recreating the crash from Sully by having the plane kind of flying very low in a crane over the Hudson River. No, they didn't. British Airways Concorde G-BOD prepares to lift off at the shipyard in Brooklyn Navy Yard after being extensively repaired. Yeah, it looks good, to be fair, but I think they nearly dropped it at one point, which was a bit worrying. Thou shalt not commit adultery unless you want to spend 90 days in jail, thanks to this outdated New York law that could soon come off the books. It's the New York state of affairs. New York's antiquated ban on extramarital sex could soon be scrubbed from the books thanks to a new bill proposed in the state legislature. Under the state law enacted in 1907, adultery is a Class B misdemeanor punishable by up to 90 days in jail or a large fine. Wow. So the cast of Friends lived in New York, didn't they? They were always having it away with each other. We were on a break. Wynn Resorts unveil renderings of massive $12 billion New York City casino complex. Wynn Resorts unveiled the art rendering for a massive $12 billion complex the casino giant hopes to build on Hudson Yards, a former graveyard for LIRR trains on the west side of Manhattan. The ambitious proposal, created by real estate related companies, features an 80-story tower overlooking the Hudson River that houses a gaming facility and hotel, office buildings, apartment towers. Yeah, it's massive. Now, if this is where I think it is, I've never been to New York, but I remember seeing somewhere, that looks like the World Trade Center next to it. How old's this picture? The bottom picture where it says renderings under the Ings bit, if you look up, that looks like the World Trade. I know it isn't, but it looks like it. Anyway, digress. There was all this land that was used by the train companies to store trains, over the weekends, do maintenance, scrap them and stuff like that. And it's massive. It's absolutely huge, this area, and it's obviously prime real estate, particularly in New York. So what they've done is they've built over it. So now they're still there, or at least they built over half of it. Not the bit near the river, the bit coming up to the road. So the bit to the right of the upper picture. And they basically built everything on stilts. And they built these massive buildings and all that kind of stuff. And it looks like this is the plan to go over the last bit that'll take it up to the river. But this looks that big that I think they probably got rid of the train yard underneath. But I don't know, because I don't live in New York. New York. A video shows brazen thieves robbing bubble tea joints in Fulton Centre as retail management threatens to leave over rising crime. Now, bubble tea looks like one of the most disgusting things I've ever had the misfortune to see people drink. It's got this like jelly goo in the bottom of it that's in balls that kind of, it looks horrendous. We've got one in Wigan. We've got two in Wigan actually. You've got the one in half of what used to be KFC next to Primark, and then you got one in the Grand Arcade, bubble tea. It just looks like so newly surfaced video shows brazen thieves stealing cash from a Fulton Transit Centre bubble tea shop as the retail giant that runs the hub threatens to leave over rising crime. Yeah, I mean it's a problem everywhere, rising crime, sadly. But it is the way it is. As is fake news. Will deepfake AI content influence the 2024 election? Nearly half of American voters believe AI-generated content will negatively impact the outcome of the 2024 elections. 43% according to a recent poll. The survey of only 2,000 registered American voters, so I mean, let's come on, in the scheme of things, that's not even a blackhead. Revealed not only that people are increasingly pessimistic about political digital verse full of deep fakes, but also people can't distinguish between AI generated content and human created content. Nearly half of American voters believe deepfake will have a negative impact, and I think it probably could do. I mean, both of those images there, the Donald Trump one is very famous. This is when he was allegedly being arrested outside a court, and the Biden one is him obviously pulling his face and sticking his tongue out. They're not, I mean, if you look at them closely, you can see there's a bit of blur near the cuff, the zip's a bit weird. Oh no, that's Kate, isn't it? Sorry, I'm getting confused. But it will get better, the technology will get better, and it will be more difficult. And it wasn't that long ago where it was true to say, the camera never lies. Bucks Fizz even had a minor hit with it. My camera never lies anymore, nevermore, nevermore, never. Yeah, no, wasn't making your mind up. TikTok one step closer to US ban after House overwhelmingly approves divestment bill. Now, the problem with TikTok is that the people in the House have got no idea about technology because they're all about 98. So it does seem a bit ridiculous that these people are voting on something that they don't understand. I mean, if China is that bothered about looking at children doing the scissor dance, or a granddad falling over, or a cat sliding off a roof, they can just go on YouTube. I mean, they are not going to get any information off the normal people just doing their normal work. Now, yes, if you're a government worker, or if you work for a secure company, then maybe don't use TikTok or don't download anything. Like I said before, have a separate phone for that, or just use your tablet for it, or whatever. But it does seem a bit silly that these old farts are voting on something that they just don't understand. Wildlife centre staffers dress up as red foxes to care for an orphaned newborn cub. Workers at a Virginia wildlife centre are going out of their way to outfox an orphaned newborn and red fox in their care by dressing up as her mum. A video shared on the Richmond Wildlife Centre's Facebook page showed Executive Director Melissa Stanley wearing a large furry fox mask complete with a moving toothy mouth and rubber gloves while feeding the hungry youngster from a syringe. I'm sorry, but that is fucking freaking. I mean, it's got a moving jaw and it looks like the devil incarnate, and it's fucking massive and it smells of human. I don't think that is just the most ridiculous. These are the people who are going to be running the country and the world in a few years' time. I'll have popped my clogs by then. Good luck, everyone else. That's just the most stupid thing ever. A number of Gen Z who say they are not straight doubles to 22%, and 1 in 5 women under 27 are bisexual. The number of Americans aged 18 to 27 identifying as non-straight has more than doubled in 7 years. New polling reveals. A survey of 12,000 Americans, which is better than 2, revealed that 22.3% of Gen Zs now say they are gay, lesbian, bisexual, queer, transgender or other, compared to 10% in 2017. And 28.5% of Gen Z females say they are not straight. Now, I'm not an expert on these things because I'm like the world's worst person for all this kind of stuff, because I'm just not interested in anyone. Welcome back. Hope you didn't break any speed limits. We were watching you. I'm just working out the mileage now for the time that you took, and just see whether or not if you could do it in that time. I'm basically being a average speed jack camera. But yeah, it's just cool to be gay at the moment. It's cool to be LGBT plus, which is fine. Most people under the age of 20 are probably not fully convinced of what what sexuality they are, and they experiment and they do this, that and the other, and that's perfectly normal. I sort of believe. I wouldn't know, I was like the world's worst. But it just seems a bit of a trend, and no doubt it'll change. I was in oral. Oh, well, you've done that far too quick, so I'll be notifying the council. Polish PM warns House Speaker Mike Johnson that thousands of lives are at risk due to failures to pass more Ukraine aid. The Polish Prime Minister, Donald Tusk, warned House Speaker Mike Johnson that he's putting thousands of lives in Ukraine at risk by turning the issue of whether to approve aid to the war-torn country into a political football. And it is a very strong statement for a foreign leader to make. And it is indeed. But Tusk used to be part of the UN or NATO, if I remember rightly. Certainly the EU anyway. NASA is sending a message in a bottle to possible alien life hiding on Jupiter's moon Europa. I mean, what? I mean, if it's bacteria, I don't think we're going to get a reply. NASA is launching a message in a bottle to Jupiter later this year as part of its quest to find alien life on the gas giant's moon. The agency's Europa Clipper spacecraft will blast off towards Jupiter moon Europa from Florida's Kennedy Space Center in October, dispatching a steady stream into the ether of 2.6 million sound waves of humankind. And I can reveal that this broadcast is one of those 2.6 million. No, it's not. Absolutely not. It's a nonsense. Utter nonsense. Boeing whistleblower John Barnett didn't seem depressed on the night before alleged suicide. Boeing whistleblower John Barnett did not seem depressed at dinner on the evening before he was mysteriously found dead in his car with a gunshot wound to his head. Lawyers, families and friends and other witnesses all say the 62-year-old was upbeat about finishing off giving testimony against his former employee in the Charleston, South Carolina inquiry. Seems a bit convenient, doesn't it? I think they're definitely taking ideas off of Putin. New York's congestion toll will discriminate against forgotten borough of Staten Island, say local polls. The forgotten borough is getting smoked out. New York's controversial plan to enforce a $15 toll to drive on some of Manhattan's busiest streets will just favour Midtown's wealthy elite and increase pollution in Staten Island's minority neighbourhoods. Yeah, basically they're just shifting the problem somewhere else, which is the issue that's going on in the UK, particularly around London, where councils have decided to block roads off using these pot plant things so that cars can't use it as a cut through, which means the cars that know the local area and cut through can't cut through anymore, so now they're stuck in the traffic, causing more traffic and more pollution on the main roads. It's genius when you think about it. Absolutely fucking genius. These politicians should all give themselves a medal for being idiots. Ghostbusters superfans get engaged at the famous New York City firehouse as stars show up to promote a new movie. Who are you going to call? Adam Ditterbrand got down on one knee in front of the famous Ghostbusters firehouse in Lower Manhattan and proposed to his cosplaying girlfriend Samantha Cartwright as dozens of the film's superfans looked on. They drove 6 hours from Cleveland to it. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a lovely thing to do. I think it's really nice. Now, don't you hate it when they use your body and cut your head off? But that's what they've done here. They've used my body and cut my head off. America's 100 most obese cities revealed, and the top 10 have something in common. Yep, they're all full of fat people. Next, Coma mounts crackdown on Chinese Communist Party's influence in the US after TikTok bill votes. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer is embarking on a government-wide probe of the Chinese Communist Party's influence within the US, one day after legislation passed the House that could ban TikTok stateside. Yeah, I think the other thing, I don't think TikTok is going to be used to destroy America. It's already destroyed the world's youth, so yeah. SpaceX's mega rocket blasts off on third test flight from Texas. This is what I was on about, and I don't know if I can show you or not, but this thing is huge. And if I zoom in and then zoom in a bit more, can I zoom in a bit more? There we go. Is that zooming in? No, I can't zoom in a bit more. Can I zoom in a bit more? Can I? Yeah, there we go. I can zoom in a bit more. That there is the bottom of it, and there's I think 30 rockets. That's how much it needs. NASA's used 4 or 5. The space shuttle used 5. 3 on the actual space shuttle and 2 on the booster rockets. This has got 30 odd. So I'll be honest with you, it's no wonder it doesn't fucking work. Anyway, sorry, I'm being a bit negative there to Elon Musk. I do apologise. I just spat as well. That's how angry I am about the whole thing. I watched that rocket take off. Massive, yeah. They call it massive. Massive. But it is massive. It's huge. Sadly, it didn't make it back down again in one piece. But I mean, to be fair, some of that size to come down in one piece, if they do get it done, that'll be pretty amazing. I just think they need bigger parachutes. Although it does damage it slightly. So make it land in the... Oh, it's still like, yeah, it's still like hitting concrete, isn't it? A pregnant New York teacher dies after collapsing in a classroom weeks before the baby was due. A pregnant upstate New York teacher who was just 2 weeks away from having her first child has died after collapsing in a classroom. Courtney Fannon, 29, a specialed teacher at Kendall Central School in the rural community some 30 miles northwest of Rochester, was found unresponsive in her classroom on Friday. She collapsed shortly after sending her husband a text. Yeah, it's a very sad, tragic story. What happened with the landing? Well, the base bit with all the rockets on it, they kind of got it level and it kind of just came down. But it came down too fast and I think it kind of tipped over and damaged something, so it's unusable. And the other one burns up in the atmosphere on the way in. A couple and 2-year-old daughter survived small plane crash after deploying parachute to ease the aircraft's fall. A California couple and their 2-year-old child survived in a wooded, as it crashed into a wooded mountainous area. The husband and wife, both 38, and their young daughter escaped with just minor cuts and scratches after authorities found them at the crash site near a busy main road. But this is something that I've never figured out. Why do planes, little planes in particular, not have parachutes? And why isn't there something that would eject passengers from a plane that's about to crash? So the whole platform ejected out of the plane. If the plane is, going to crash and everyone's going to die, and then have different parachutes on different bits of it, so that you've got at least a bit of a chance of surviving. Or would that make it worse because you know you're going to die, but it just takes longer? Don't know. Ex-New York City weatherman fired in nude photo scandal, making a hard reset while still doing forecasts. The former New York City meteorologist, who was fired after nude videos from an adult website were leaked to his boss, revealed that he's doing a hard reset of his life and career. Please note, that means both ways. He's still forecasting the weather. The former New York One weatherman, Eric Adam, took a much-needed break from the social media in November and has since returned, hosting a weather show from his own house. And many are watching, hoping that instead of using a thing to point out the different states and everything, he might use a part of his body. Yeah, I don't understand why it's such a big thing that this guy's on an adult website doing stuff. Because we all know of celebrities, Kerry Katona for one, who's on adult websites and does stuff and no one bats an eyelid. This guy's a weatherman. I mean, I don't think he advertised on his weather report. Don't forget, you can watch me knocking one out in an hour's time when I get home. Go on, not Facebook, what's it called? Fans page thing. OnlyFans. Come on, OnlyFans, and blah, blah, blah. I don't think he did that. I think he's just privately, publicly doing what he wanted to do, and I don't think it has any relevance with his job. Oh, I don't know. And before you ask, no, I don't. Feds investigating Meta for possible role in illegal drug sales on Facebook and Instagram. Grow your business from anywhere with this book, yes. The feds are poking Facebook for possible drug dealing. The US prosecutors in Virginia are investigating Meta platforms, the parent company Facebook and Instagram, for playing a role in facilitating illegal drug sales online. They've issued subpoenas and began questioning whether Meta's social media platforms are enabling and profiteering from illicit drug sales. Because, yeah, they get a percentage, don't they, from advertising and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's an interesting concept there, boy. Or girl, or whatever. Boeing 737 MAX engine issue will take up to a year to fix. And Battle Company reveals. That sounds promising, doesn't it? Boeing will take up to a year to repair an engine issue on all its beleaguered 737 MAX jets, which will delay the certification of its 73 MAX 7s and MAX 10s. Boeing has acquired a team of experts to quickly drive forward a safe and compliant solution to a glitch that could cause the M37 MAX anti-eye system to overheat and damage the engine. I mean, is there anything about this plane that is actually working? The whole thing seems... I mean, there were two tragic cases where the autopilot went into anti-stall when it didn't need to at the beginning, and since then it's just kind of gone downhill. A Boeing 737 loses external panel mid-flight, but lands safely in Oregon in the latest plane incident. Now, I have said that Boeing have got more planes in the air than any other manufacturer, but they're not all Boeing 737 Maxes. And that's what's worrying. But yeah, they're literally falling apart. I think Boeing are just going to give the business to other people at this rate. Mike Pence, I will not be endorsing Donald Trump in 2024. Does he not realise it already is 2024? Is he losing it as well? Former Vice President Mike Pence confirmed that he will not be endorsing Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election, and will say whether he would vote, or wouldn't say whether he would vote for the presumptive Republican nominee. It should come as no surprise that I will not be endorsing Donald Trump this year, Pence said during an appearance on Fox News. Yeah, I don't think Pence and Trump ever got on really, so it's not a surprise at all. Biden spotted with cheat cards with photos of Irish leaders and how to pronounce their names. President Biden was photographed holding cheat cards with pictures of Irish officials accompanied with prompts on how to pronounce their names. Phonetically, I assume. Has Pence seen the light? I think he has. The 81-year-old Commander-in-Chief exposed the cards to camera whilst meeting the Oval Office with Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar. Varadkar was accompanied by Nick Miller. Now, I have a problem with Varadkar, but I don't have a problem with Nick Miller, so I wouldn't need a prompt card for that. But yeah, you can't expect someone who's 81 and can't remember his own name and how to go open a door or go upstairs to know people's names of people he doesn't know, he hasn't seen. Pierce Brosnan pleads guilty to hiking off trail at Yellowstone. He's got a license to kill, but he's taking the heat. James Bond star Pierce Brosnan pleaded guilty to foot travel in a restricted thermal area of Yellowstone National Park after he was outed on an online account dedicated to exposing stupid tourists. The Irish actor, 70, was ordered to pay about $1,500 to the US Attorney's Office for the District of Wyoming. The payment includes a $1,000 community service contribution to the Yellowstone National Park. Yeah, I mean, obviously, not only is it bad for the environment that people just tramp everywhere they want, but it's also quite dangerous as well because it's got a lot of geysers and things. We all know, what's it called, the Big Old Man or something like that. So yeah. Boeing whistleblower John Barnett made a grim prediction before his death frame claims it's not suicide. Boeing whistleblower John Barnett made a grim prediction that he could potentially end up dead after raising concerns about the jetliner giant, allegedly telling a family friend, if anything happens, it's not suicide. Barnett, 62, was found dead in his pickup truck in Charleston, South Carolina on March the 9th. The same day he was due to conclude his closed door testimony. It does seem very convenient, doesn't it? Seatbelts save passengers' life on Boeing 737 that suffered horrific mid-air blowout, new lawsuit says. More passengers who were aboard an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 jet when part of its fuselage blew out in January are suing, including one who says his life was saved by a seatbelt. That's what seatbelts are there for. Yeah, it didn't save that kid's t-shirt though, did it? That poor lad's t-shirt. I really got his t-shirt, but I'm really concerned about this poor lad and his t-shirt. We need to find his t-shirt. It'd be freezing by now. Biden asked staffer for permission to take questions at Michigan event before reporters are ushered away. President Biden was heard asking permission from a staffer to take a couple of questions from the audience during a campaign stop. Prompting other aides to quickly move the press out of earshot. Can I take a couple of questions? He asked. Yeah. He's the most powerful man in the world. What can possibly go wrong? I don't know. It's just not good. Anyway, that brings us to the news that makes you go, huh? Or, ugh. Or, or, ugh. Or whatever. Anyway. Once again, this photograph manipulation concerns. We'll come back to that though in a bit, because they're all going on. They're all going on about these circled areas, which is fair enough. But what they're not actually looking at, and no one's brought up the question of, is everyone's favourite prince at the moment, since Prince Harry's gone completely AWOL, is Prince Louis. And more importantly, Prince Louis's hand. That one. The question is, what the hell is going on there? I mean, yeah, you've got the blurry bit with his mum's hand and everything, and you've got the can we see? No, we can't see the zip on this one. But yeah, that hand there. What's going on there? I mean, he's only a kid. You know, they're allowed to have their little foibles and things like that. And Prince Louis he should get his own, when he's older obviously, not at the minute, but he should get his own channel and his own TV show, because he'd be hilarious. Most of it makes me just meh. Yeah, that's the old news. We're on the funny news now, Sabs. We've not had Rollaway either, have we, this week? Anyway, PA withdraws Kate Middleton's Mother's Day image amid controversy over the photograph. Last week we were talking about the young driver who basically had the weekend of his life. He qualifies on pole in F2, has 1 hour of practice in F1, qualifies 11 on his first F1 qualifying in a Ferrari, and finishes 7th in his first ever race in a Formula 1 car. I mean, that is impressive. And the scary thing is, Fernando Alonso finished 2nd in the Spanish Grand Prix on the day that Ollie was born. Now that makes me feel old, because I still think of Fernando Alonso as being one of the new guys, because I've been watching Formula 1 since the days of Senna and before Senna and Prost and all them, Lacey and everyone. Me seeing myself at the Asda self-service camera, I have to admit they are not the best things ever, are they? I mean, I know I'm thinning, but the ones on the aisles, when I look up, I look completely bald. It's like a flash forward to 3 months in the future. Okay, a bit longer hopefully. Jimmy Carr, I recently wrote a book about poltergeists. I am pleased to say it's flying off the shelves. I thank you. We didn't have a Banksy last week, so we've got at least 2 this week. There's one. It's a plant with a camera on it. CCTV's getting everywhere, folks. You have been warned. You have been warned. Hi T, by the way, if you're on. B Network electric buses hit with a safety warning over fears they could catch fire. Yeah, they're electric vehicles. Of course they've got a warning of catching fire. Have you not been watching Wigan Watch? Have you not been watching the news roundup of the week thing? News roundup of the week thing that's on the Elder Gamer channel. We've been going on about electric cars catching fire from ages. They are not the future, but electric buses more so. Problem is, if one of them catches fire whilst they're charging at the depot, they're going to destroy the entire fleet, as well as cause so much pollution with all the chemicals burning and going up to the atmosphere. It's just horrific. Electric vehicles not the way forward. Cue Alan to say he's got an electric car, even though he hasn't. Car thieves nailed by WhatsApp boasts. What did you get up to last night, mate? Nicked a load of stuff from a motor, flogging it to Jimmy the Fence right now. Yep, not the brightest people in the world. A climate protester used a truck to block lanes on a major freeway during peak hour, forcing a woman to give birth on the side of the road, has been freed in time to go to another major protest. And we think the British government is up with the justice. This is typical, isn't it? A nature cameraman there taking a picture of a flower whilst ripping it out of the ground, because that's what we do. Obviously that's a Banksy. This is true as well. I remember when Walkers, or Lay's if you're American, did this. You'll be lucky to find a King Crisp in a packet these days. And they're not wrong. But yeah, £5 notes in newspaper, in packets of crisps, and yeah, you're more likely to find a £5 note in a packet of crisps than you are a King Crisp these days. Wigan News, this is fake news, Wigan. A busy Wigan factory that makes chess pieces have been forced to move to shift work. This weekend they're on nights. It's not very relevant to Wigan, but it is quite funny, so we'll let that one go. The government could be set to back proposals from Liz Truss that would bar biological males from female spaces. Could men who identify as women be banned from female spaces? They should be banned from female spaces because it is open to abuse by perverts who just want to. I'm a woman. I identify as a woman, therefore I can go into a female toilet or a female. It's the whole world is at the minute. Another Banksy, or is it? So this is a tree that's dead, that's been chopped down, and the wall behind it has been sprayed, so it looks like it's got leaves growing on it, which is quite clever. And who's the perpetrator? Is it Banksy, or is it this person here who's done it with a well, looks like a fire extinguisher, but yeah, okay, it's a Banksy. Table manners have gone as we chew loudly and use mobile phones at dinner. A new study reveals that 3/4 of us now believe people care less about table manners compared to previous generations, with a hefty 53% of Brits being annoyed by their family's manners. My family at dinner don't annoy me because I'm on my own, there's no one here. I can do what I want. A goose banished from Milton Keynes and sent 38 miles away to stop him coming back. Bruce, the grey-legged goose, has been banished from the city centre of Milton Keynes, Buckinghamshire, and sent to a new home in the countryside after a single complaint was made about him. One person complained about this goose had pooed on the footpath, so they moved the thing 38,000 miles. No, 38 miles. Right. It's a king goose. It's got king wings. They've got built-in navigation. If it wants to, it can fly back again. And this one person who's complained about it, why don't you go 38 miles away? Make everyone's life better. A bit of pleasure from a goose. I nearly got savaged by geese today. You'll see that in my vlog. AI chatbot seeks JFK comment on conspiracy theories and Marilyn Monroe affair. Now, ironically, I recorded a show about the JFK assassination and all the conspiracy and everything about it. And I watched it. I don't know if I finished it. I think I finished it now. Or have I finished it? I don't know. And I'll be watching it, and it's just a very strange set of circumstances. But anyway, if JFK spoke to us from beyond the grave, AI chatbot that allows people to speak to their loved ones beyond the grave using cutting-edge technology. We don't find out what he said because it's clickbait. Tough guy Donald Trump said Hitler did some good things, advisor claims. He did. I have to admit, Hitler did some good things. He killed himself. Okay, he did one good thing. I mean, what is Trump on about? Fake Putin to disappear as he needs urgent chin, cheekbone and nose surgery. The face of Vladimir Putin's body double appears to be having issues with key features, claiming he will need to have more surgery to ensure he looks like Vlad. Alaskan Airlines dramatic door blowout plane was due for a safety check later on that day. It emerged engineers were so alarmed by warning lights on the passenger jet they'd called for it to be grounded, but airline bosses insisted it complete a further 3 flights first. Money over safety, eh? A woman forced to bribe monkey with sweets after it snatched her iPhone 15. A wild macaw was filmed swiftly grabbing a woman's iPhone 15 Pro from her hands and only giving it back after she bribed it with sweets at a popular tourist spot in China. Yeah, they're getting clever, aren't they, these monkeys? Parts of the UK to hit by snow and frosty -5 temperatures on the first day of spring. The first day of spring is on its way, but that doesn't mean things will be getting very warm anytime soon, with some of the country warned to expect some of the white stuff. By some of the country, they probably mean Scotland, because it's fake news. Fake news now. Israel has spy cows with medallion-sized recording devices to monitor locals. A bloke from a remote village in the West Bank claimed that Israel had an army of spy cows and that he actually come across one of them spying on him and his friends. Now, it's not been proven that these cows are spy cows, therefore the identity of this cow has been hidden to protect it. UK could be next Haiti, as Sunak warned war-torn cannibal country could be us. But you're the fucking Prime Minister, sort the fucking stuff out, will you? Professor Anthony Glees has warned that the UK's leaders should keep a close eye on Haiti, as it could very well mirror what could happen in the UK in the future. I think we will have civil unrest very soon, but I'm not exactly sure that it's going to be anything like Haiti. Weatherman sacked firm on campsite now doing forecasts from his home. We've already covered him. Unlike himself, who uncovers himself. Exact time, double snow bomb will hit UK as -2 see big freeze set to last for days, they keep saying. Yeah, okay then, so it's going to be really, really cold, the experts are saying. A woman identifies as a dog, sleeps in a crate, and handlers walk her. A social media star who's known ironically as Meow has talked about identifying as a dog this week. She explained how she sleeps in a crate and is walked by her handlers. No, what she wants is she needs some mental health help. Not encouraging. This is the Captain Scarlet logo. Well, it's not the Captain Scarlet logo, is it? It's Spectrum logo in black and white because it was old. Or is it Elon Musk to blame for the otherworldly blue swirl spotted in the Northern Lights? Elon Musk and SpaceX are thought to be responsible for a massive blue swirl that appeared in the middle of the Northern Lights earlier this month. The phenomenon was snapped by photographers from all over the north of the world. All over the world. If you don't like spiders, look away for the next 30 seconds. This is a spider warning. Warning, spiders, look away for 30 seconds. A huge huntsman spider as big as a hand stored in boxes shipped to the UK from China. A huge huntsman spider was found in a warehouse after being shipped from China to the UK in boxes, giving one worker a heart attack after making the chilling find. Didn't say whether the spider was dead or alive, but it only needs one of them to release loads of little spiders, and then we've got huntsman spiders in the country, and that's going to be fun, isn't it? Deaths of despair. UK town with highest drug and booze death rate in the country. Despite its fame, the town has become synonymous with deaths of despair, fatalities from either drugs or alcohol, and according to multiple results, has the highest rate of those in the country. But to protect the people of the town, they are not stating the name of the town, which I think is a good idea because we don't want people knowing where it is. Putin killed and jailed enemies to secure a certain victory in sham election. Sadly, that didn't read as I originally read it. Putin killed. Oh well. Mad Vlad is certain to win the upcoming Russian presidential election. Yeah, no, don't jump the gun. Not least because he has a track record of wiping out anyone who looks to be posing a threat to his political dominance. All's fair in love and... No, it's not. Kremlin rigging landslide win for Putin, making him president until 2023. Vladimir Putin's election victory is assured, but Kremlin agents hoping to rig the polls are keen for a landslide win, so the despot will be in power until 2030. Not bad for a dead man, is it? And this young man here looks like he's about 15. Whether he's voting or not, I don't know. But it's a weird picture to show, but you know, hey up. Talking of weird pictures. Prince William and Kate Middleton in a storm and have no idea how to fix it. Prince William and Kate Middleton have been making headline non-stop for the last 2 months. It appears they have no idea how to make any of it stop. Well, you just stop doing stuff. Simples. Oh, I don't know. North Korea, no, 2030. North Korea bans pet dogs as it's not socialist behaviour and a waste of money. The Socialist Women's Union of Korea has warned that owning dogs is not exactly the best thing to do in order to live your life as good socialists in North Korea. And they're not wrong, are they? Dogs are evil Satan's spawn. Nonsense. Probably if you can't afford to feed a dog, don't own a dog. And let's be honest, there's a lot of people starving to death in North Korea. And don't they eat dogs there as well? I don't know, it's very confusing, mixed messages. If you're offended by people wearing Y-fronts, look away now for the next 30 seconds. Warning, warning, Y-fronts. Look away now for 30 seconds. Blokes who wear white Y-fronts, are crowned Britain's hottest lovers. The age-old tighty whities are apparently a turn-on for women who reckon blokes who wear them are more masculine and red hot in bed. A strange survey has found. Yeah, because I bet it's a survey by manufacturers of Y-fronts. I'm a boxer short man myself. I like loose boxer shorts. I do wear some tighty ones occasionally when my loose ones are all in the wash. But yeah. Abby Clancy becomes spokesperson for UFOs over fears aliens are coming. Well, everything's sorted then, isn't it? Abby Clancy and her husband Peter Crouch were discussing her mysterious sighting on their podcast The Therapy Crouch, with Abby's comments resonating with extraterrestrial believers. No, that's not me. I can tell it's not me because you're on about the Grundys, aren't you? There's a bulge there, so it's definitely not me. I might just only a very small bulge. It could be me. But I don't wear tighty whities. Eerie M25 drone footage shows empty lanes as the motorway is closed. It's like a flashback to 2019, isn't it, in COVID, when all the motorways were closed. And there was a guy doing the ironing, if you remember, on the M1, I think it was. A woman is confirmed part Labrador by bungling dog DNA services. A dog DNA testing service were investigated, with a woman sending human samples to the company, with one returning results of the pricey test that she was part Labrador. What a bitch. Putin and Xi will take control of space with nuclear moon base. Russia and China's attempt to take control of space will likely backfire as the bungling duo has wars on Earth they need to settle before they attempt a nuclear power plant on the moon. I still think a nuclear power plant on the moon is a good idea. Aliens are coming. Look, proof. Earth will be crushed by superior alien tech in real life Independence Day. An invading alien force would have far superior technology, making them a nailed on favourite if ever going to war with the US military, and AI claims. You don't need to be kin AI to know that. It's obvious. If aliens manage to get to Earth, they've obviously got superior technology to us. And if they are of the destructive type, we're all dead. I mean, you don't need AI for that. I mean, it's no-brainer. Woo, 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 says Alan Barton with his spaceship emojis. Whoops. Haunted lake built on burial ground opens water slide despite a string of deaths. Haunted Lake Lena will host new water slide coaster despite concerns from the members of the public over the 216 eerie deaths which have taken place over the years. So they've had other deaths as well, but 216 have been described as eerie. And now they're building a water slide there. What a way. In Lecky spaceships, oh for God's sake. Britain's scariest roundabout, so fascinating it's become a family day out. I even did a video there, if you remember, if you're a regular and you watch my walk around exploring, let's visit, let's go to videos. I actually did a video on the Magic Roundabout in Swindon, and it is insane. It really is. I even stood in the middle of it. I got some right funny looks, but I stood in the middle of it filming it. It's completely bonkers. If you go through the whatchamacallit, I can't remember what it was now, walkabouts or something or other, you will see the Swindon one, and if you watch that you'll see me go to the Magic Roundabout, talk about the Magic Roundabout, and then drive round the Magic Roundabout. There was no Zebedee or Ermintrude or Dougal in sight. Willy Wonka's experience organisers' life is ruined after shambolic events. Well, never mind. I mean, let's be honest, it was shit. The organiser of Glasgow's famed Willy Wonka experience, Billy Cool, has claimed his life is ruined in an appearance on Channel 5 documentary earlier this week. I'm sure you'll get over it. I'm sure you'll get over it. Oh, there he is. Toph's found it. He's like my... hi, Toph, by the way. I thought you were on somewhere. He's like the expert on these things. Americans forgot about Harry and Meghan in newfound obsession with Kate. This will upset Harry and Meghan. They're no longer the number one talked about royal couple. It's William and Kate who are the most talked about royal couple. And of course, happy St. Paddy's Day. Drinking pints of Guinness could help you last longer in bed, doctors say. If you drink too many, you don't last that long because you have to get out and have a wee. Most of us will be celebrating St. Patrick's Day tonight by knocking back a cold pint of Guinness. But did you know that it has surprising benefits on your sex life? It's all the iron in it. It gives you a rod of iron. I don't even know what that means. It's a shame that I drink so much Guinness and don't use the advantages anywhere. Although one of my mates said one of his exes was really into vinyl records, and she'd always want a vinyl record on whilst they were, you know, enjoying each other, and very impressively they were still going when the side of the record finished, and she asked him mid, you know, enjoyment to go and turn the record over and come back again. And I went, so you're walking across the bedroom to the record player with, you know, all, you know, moist and everything, and you went, yeah. And I went, you didn't think that were a bit weird? You went, a bit weird, yeah. But I was still impressed. It lasted a whole side of an album. I'm lucky if I last the intro, you know, the bit when you put the record on the vinyl, and then just before the first track plays, there's a little bit. God, I'd be lucky if I did that. Anyway, I did mention earlier on that we had an event in the shop today that made me laugh so much, and I literally thought I was going to pass out laughing, and it's pathetically stupid. We had a massive amount of DVDs and CDs come in, and these the people who brought it in, it happens all the time. I just brought them in as you do. You chucked them in a box. They've been, sat somewhere. And as things do, they get, dust on them and stuff. It happens. It's so common. You don't even bat an eyelid about it. But it was commented on that one of the DVDs was particularly dusty this afternoon. I'll say I'm not having to go at anyone because my house is dusty, my shop's dusty as well. I haven't been in a shop as dusty as this one, but anyway, that's another story. And we started coming up with all this random stuff, and I thought of one, and I couldn't breathe. I was laughing that much, and I don't think it's actually that funny. So anyway, I recreated it. I didn't recreate it. I actually went through some of the DVDs. And they're all DVDs from a long-standing group of films with various different actors playing the main parts. And now this is going to be tricky because I won't be able to hear this. But I know what I've said and I know how long it's on for. So if you can hear it, give me a thumbs up. But wait till the end. It lasts for about a minute. So, yeah, enjoy the stupid stuff that goes on in Games and More in Wigan on a Saturday afternoon. Thankfully, in a quiet moment.
Many of you will know that I own and run a shop in Wigan. We do second-hand vinyl, games, DVDs, CDs and everything. And we get stuff that people bring in, and occasionally some of the stuff is, well, not perfect. For example, this, which is James Bond for Your Eyes Only. Very dusty. Now these are DVDs that have not been used for a while. It's nothing unusual to have dusty stuff in, but it did start a bit of a thing between a couple of us in the shop where we started replacing certain words. So for example, this is not the one we started with, but this is for Your Dust Only.
Thank you, sir.
Dust Royale. Tomorrow Never Dusts. Dust. That's the worst one. Dustfall, Dr. Dust, The Dust Is Not Enough, Quantum of Dust, Golden Dust, The Dust Daylights, or The Living Dust, The Man with the Golden Dust, A View to Dust, Diamonds Are Dust, On Her Majesty's Secret Dust, From Russia with Dust, Never Dust Never Again. My favourites, License to Dust, Dust Another Day, Live and Let Dust, and You Only Dust Twice. I thank you. Yes, we were bored.
The last one was my favourite.
Many of you
the last one was my favourite there.
In Wigan.
Just replace one word with dust. I did it with the Harry Potter one as well. Harry Potter and the Half-Dust Prince. So anyway, yeah, it amused me and people in the shop for quite a while. That it was historical. Obviously, I did that after we'd shut. So yeah, it's You Only Dust Twice. That's the one that got me. It's got me again. I don't believe it. Oh no, I've done it again. So yeah, I might pull that up as a little short or something. I might have to re-record it though because I can't crop it. Anyway, breaking news. Steve Harley death. Cockney rebel musician dies aged 73. Alex Navalny's wife, Yulia Navalny, attends a protest in Berlin against the election. Jet2 issues warning of delays for travellers heading to Spanish holiday hotspots. Great service, good food and reasonable prices at the Black Bear pub. That's good. In Wollaston, which doubles up as an Indian restaurant from the Fenlands. Doesn't matter if you've never smoked, lung cancer symptoms and all you need to know. That is true, to be fair. Tories in leadership chaos over mad plot to replace Sunak with Mordaunt. That is insane. That is suicide. Rod Stewart's absolutely devastated as he leads tributes to Steve Harley. There was a mushroom cloud from the volcano that erupted in Iceland. M25 closure creates ghost town amid warnings of future shutdowns. There's going to be more shutdowns. Sudan could be weeks away from a catastrophic wow. Sudan could be weeks away from a massive hunger crisis. And where are we? Historic England names Bolton heritage buildings at risk of being lost. Gorgeous village with biggest beer garden and scenic walks. It's only 20 minutes from London city centre, Liverpool city centre. EasyJet travellers could be hit with a £48 charge minutes before departure if they're not careful. The 5 most common deathbed regrets according to a palliative care nurse. That's a weird one, isn't it? Jurgen Klopp storms out of the interview after Manchester United versus Liverpool FA Cup tie. Former NATO commander predicts our future and it looks terrifying. The 5 most common bugs that live in your home and how to get rid of them. Some of them are actually good bugs. You don't want to get rid of them. 10 things happen to your body when you stop drinking. You get miserable. Fred Olsen announces 25-26 cruise programme from Liverpool, including a major bucket list trip. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? Moscow flights grounded by mass Ukraine drone strikes. And I think that's it. Oh, Jurgen Klopp makes defiant Liverpool statement after dramatic Man United thing. McDonald's makes huge change to iconic burgers 50 years after launch. The picture there doesn't look like McDonald's ones. And that's it for the breaking news. A bit rubbish, to be honest. You need to clear up your act. You need to get off the dusk and get clean. I'll not long woke up, been sleeping most of the day. Need to go in to watch from the start tomorrow. So yeah, that is it. We've actually got the most views we've had, and I've been on for an hour and 37 minutes. So it'll be an hour and 40 minutes. We've looked at various different news from around the world. We've looked at the serious stuff. We've looked at the silly stuff, and we've looked at stuff that's just made me laugh this week. So if you've just joined us, then go back to the beginning, watch it from the beginning. At least you've got the advantage of fast forwarding if I'm talking about something you're not interested in. So we've had 36 viewers, we've got 9 concurrent views, we've only had 4 likes. Highest number of views we've had has been 10, which was about 30 seconds ago. Big shout out to everyone who's joined in the chat, which isn't many today. You've been very quiet. Alan Barton, Andy the Cyclist, Laney, Sab's Workshop, and Toff. Yep, that's it. So yeah, that is it for this week. Got lots of other stuff I need to do tonight, so I'm not going to hang around too long. So I will say thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are. And I'll be seeing you next time. Until then,